I'd like to welcome y'all to UCA today. My name is Nick Brazovan. I'm an assistant professor of philosophy and religion here. I also serve as the director of the Humanities and World Cultures Institute here in the College of Liberal Arts. So yeah, I'd like to welcome everybody. BB's here representing. We got Conway Christian, Conway High, Mayflower, Little Rock School District, J.A. Fair's here. So it's great to have y'all. I'm really excited to have this group of students here on campus today. We have a great event planned for y'all. We have a lot of dynamic speakers representing all of the various disciplines from the College of Liberal Arts here: history, English, world cultures, languages, literatures, philosophy and religion, sociology. I'm sure I'm going to leave one off the list. The diversity of the humanities, you know, it's pretty striking. We have a lot to offer here in terms of the humanities and the liberal arts. And I'd like to just say briefly what I see as the role of the humanities here in the 21st century. I don't know if y'all know this, but these days there's a large push in society and in the university, academia in general, to emphasize what's called STEM, which a focus on science, technology, engineering, mathematics. And this is good, right? I think this is a good thing. I think we all should be studying these disciplines. But I also want to make the case that the humanities has yet a lot to offer. And the humanities should be seen, the liberal arts should be seen as a complement to these other studies, these other areas of inquiry. And in particular, what does the humanities have to offer? You know, through the humanities, we learn to express ourselves with clarity, with richness. We learn critical thinking skills. We learn to think outside of the box, creative thinking. We're also there to balance the sciences and technology through checking that the scientists and the industries are implementing science and technology responsibly. The technology, today's theme is actually pointed at a more perfect union. Right? That's what we're celebrating today. That's what we're addressing throughout the day. And we'll be addressing this again through multiple perspectives. And I think y'all are going to have a good time. All right? Now, without further ado, what I'd like to do is I'd like to go ahead and introduce the Associate Dean of the College of Liberal Arts. He's also a professor in philosophy and religion here at UCA, Dr. Peter Mell.
Thank you, Nick. Good morning. Good to see so many students here from all parts of Arkansas visiting Conway. Let me give you my welcome to the, what I think is probably at least our 10th, if not 11th or 12th annual Humanities Fair at UCA. I know you're in for a treat today. So how many students want to live a good life? Anybody? Okay, right. Most people should have their hand up, right? Most people want to live a good life, right? But the thing is, it takes a little effort to live a good life. And it's not something you can buy. The good life is something you can discover, cultivate, and achieve if you set your mind to it. And one important step in leading a good life is to understand yourself and your world. The humanities play a crucial role in that process, and they will be the highlight of today's presentations. You will have an opportunity to learn from some of our best humanities faculty. Our faculty love what they do. They want to share their area of study with you, and they want to learn with you. They will stretch your mind, they will challenge you to think, and they will provide opportunities for you to grow as a person and as a citizen. At the end of the day, your horizon on life will be expanded. You will have become more fully human. It's a funny thing, but human beings are a work in progress. And you are both the work and, to some large degree, the artist. Today, you will put some more brushstrokes on the work that is you. Again, thanks for coming. Enjoy your day. We hope to see you here at UCA as a student someday soon.
Thank you, Dr. Mell. You know, I did forget an important acknowledgement to our funding agency. This project is sponsored in part by support from a grant from the Arkansas Humanities Council, as well as the National Endowment for Humanities. So there's folks looking out for us here in Central Arkansas, making sure we get the quality education that we deserve. So I'd like to thank the sponsors of the program. Now I'd like to go ahead and introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. Jacob Held, from the Department of Philosophy and Religion as well, and he will be speaking on how to build a more perfect union. So thank you, Dr. Held, for your time.
Okay, well, thank you, and well, this year the topic revolves around a more perfect union, and so what I want to do is I want to talk about how the humanities actually help us construct that union, what it means to have a perfect union, to have a perfectible union, and how we construct it, and how a well-rounded education is necessary in order to do that. And one way I'm going to focus is by looking at what happens when it fails. What happens when you don't have that education, when you don't have that appreciation for diversity of perspectives, for diversity of philosophies, diversity of values. What happens when our union goes wrong? And we can see that oftentimes it's ignorance that's the culprit. Okay, so as an academic, speaking on political issues does raise problems. Academics are often attacked as being too liberal or leftist, right? We're here, in case you didn't know, to indoctrinate you to become communists and atheists and some sort of weird lesbian cabal. Right? That's our job, and so if I recruit a good 3 or 4 every semester, I'm happy. That's the perspective, right? So in this regard, academics are often timid, right? They don't want to appear to have an agenda. They're always on the defensive, like, no, but really, I don't have an agenda. I'm going to give equal time and balance to everybody. And what ends up happening when you give equal time and balance is when you're talking about something where there is a definitive true and false, or right and wrong, equal time means balancing out the truth with the asinine. It means letting somebody with no good position and no supportable position take up time that could be better spent actually talking about reasonable, real things. So talking about a more perfect union kind of puts me in a conundrum, because I have to overtly promote values now. If it's asinine, no matter which God said it, which book you read. So that's my job as an academic, as an intellectual, is to be anti-ignorance. And I think that benefits us as a union, because the more ignorance we have, right, the less compromise we get, the less work we're able to do.
So I decided just to kind of skip down and have some interaction from you guys so we could have more of kind of a discussion, as opposed to just me sitting here and lecturing to you, which might be boring. So what do you know about the American Constitution? Actually, let me start back. What do you know about the Articles of Confederation? Does anybody know anything about the Articles of Confederation? And you don't have to raise your hand, just fire away. And if you're wrong, that's fine too. It didn't work that well. Why do you think it didn't work that well? First of all, do you know what it was? What is it?
It's almost like to think about it for yourselves. And I'm not here to tell you directly how to understand these issues. In other words, I'd rather you come from this session with a lot of questions rather than some specific answer that you think I want you to have about these topics. Okay, so think about what I'm about to explore with you on that level. Okay? So one thing we can observe about ourselves is that we're conscious beings. We can think about things. We're aware of things. And as conscious beings, we can ask lots of questions. Why are we here? What's the nature of the universe? What is reality? Can we perceive reality as it is? Or are we always looking at reality from our own little private subjective window onto the world? And the question I want us to address today is, what are we? Right? As conscious beings, we can also self-consciously reflect back on ourselves and ask the question, what am I? Okay? Now, one thing to note is that we seem to be different than other things around us in regard to the fact that we're conscious. Right? So take a rock, a chair, the wall here. This is material stuff, and I seem to be different from this stuff in the sense that there's something it's like to be me. Right? I experience things. I have consciousness. this wall doesn't seem to have that, the chair you're sitting in doesn't seem to have that, but you know you have that. And you know that in a way that
The title of my presentation today is Harmony but Not Sameness. And in the Chinese script there it's He Er Bu Tong. Alright, harmony but not sameness. A Confucian vision of a more perfect union. Now my name is Nick Brasavant. I'm an assistant professor here. I introduced myself this morning. I teach philosophy and religion here at UCA. And my particular focus is Chinese philosophy and comparative philosophy. So here at UCA, what I do is I teach courses on Confucianism, I teach courses on Buddhism, teach Taoism, these East Asian traditions. And you know, when we're studying these East Asian traditions, we try to understand them in their own context, in their own historical context, try to reconstruct them using their own language. So in fact, to study this stuff, in order to really penetrate it in any depth, I had to go ahead and learn Chinese. So a lot of my research is actually carried out in the classical Chinese script and Mandarin as well. So we give, you know, in the study of Confucianism, we give this kind of contextual understanding of it, but I also like to use it as a point of comparison and contrast for some of the religious and philosophical traditions that we've inherited here in America. So a lot of the times in class we'll engage in a Confucian-Christian dialogue or a Buddhist-Christian dialogue. See how Christianity might be understood from the perspective of Buddhism and vice versa, right? So that's the kind of the methodology a lot of times of how we study Confucianism or how we study East Asian philosophy here at UCA. All right, so today what I'd like to do, I'd like to analyze a particular concept within the Confucian tradition, a concept of harmony. That's this top character up there, harmony. Now this line here, these four characters, which translates harmony but not sameness, this slogan, as it were, is found in one of the classics of the Confucian tradition, namely the Analects of Confucius.